Oh, hello. I'm Ari Shaffir. You know, America's had it pretty rough lately. And in tough times such as these, our country turns to its heroes. Heroes such as myself. Welcome to the Amazing Racist.
We're all over there looking for work. There's none of them here, like, legally. Help to build a deck?
Okay, está bien.
Does that work?
¡Aires! ¡Aires! ¡La migra! ¡La migra!
The early 2000s were a chaotic time for comedy. The internet was a lawless frontier, and shock humor ruled the day. Into this wild landscape stepped Ari Shaffir, a New York comedian with a penchant for pushing buttons. His creation, The Amazing Racist, became one of the most controversial, viral sensations of its era, sparking laughter, outrage, and everything in between. From jaw-dropping public stunts to a career that's weathered storms of criticism, this is the definitive story of what happened to The Amazing Racist. Ari Shaffir was born on February 12, 1974 in New York City, a place where sharp wit and thick skin were practically prerequisites. Raised in a Jewish family, Shaffir gravitated toward comedy early, idolizing boundary pushers like Lenny Bruce and George Carlin. By the early 2000s, he was grinding in the stand-up scene, performing at dive bars and open mics. His humor was raw, irreverent, and unafraid to tackle taboos, a style that caught the eye of National Lampoon, the iconic comedy brand behind Animal House. In 2004, they tapped Shaffir for a project called Lost Reality, a DVD compilation of edgy skits too provocative for mainstream television. One segment would change his life, a series of pranks dubbed The Amazing Racist, a provocative riff on the CBS show The Amazing Race. In these skits, Shaffir adopted a racist persona, confronting strangers with slurs, stereotypes, and outrageous behavior. The goal? Shock, provoke, and maybe, just maybe, make people laugh at the absurdity of prejudice. The first stunt to make waves was as bold as it was inflammatory. Shaffir donned a full outfit, white hood, robe, the works, and walked into a public space, camera in tow. In one unforgettable moment, he walks into a convenience store with a straight face and attempts to have a conversation with the African-American man behind the counter. The man is froze, his face a mix of confusion and anger, visibly shaken. The grainy footage captured every 10th second, and the raw energy of the encounter made it feel like Shaffir was risking his life for the bit.
Me and my friends are having an event later, and do you know one of your people have a front lawn?
This stunt set the tone for what The Amazing Racist would become, a high-wire act of shock comedy that left no one indifferent. Shaffir would even do some stunts and skits that hit closer to his own identity. Posing as a bigoted everyman, he hit the streets with a clipboard, asking Jewish people to sign a petition apologizing for killing Jesus.
Remember Jesus? And how you guys killed him? I'm trying to get some people to sign the petition.
A centuries-old anti-Semitic trope delivered with chilling earnestness. The reactions were electric. Some laughed nervously, unsure if it was a joke, and others snapped back, calling him out. A few just walked away, visibly disturbed. One man, as captured in the footage, pointed at Shaffir and said, "You're sick, you know that?" The skit's audacity, targeting a historically persecuted group with such a loaded accusation, made it one of the most talked about moments in the Lost Reality collection. It was classic Shaffir, fearless, divisive, and impossible to ignore. Shaffir didn't limit his provocations to one specific group. In other Amazing Racist skits, he targeted Asians, African Americans, and Arabs with equal ferocity. In one, he storms into an Asian-owned store, shouting about dog-eating stereotypes and demanding to see their, quote, real menu. The shopkeeper's stunned silence spoke volumes. Another skit saw him hurling outdated caricatures at African American passerbys using slurs that haven't been acceptable in decades. Against Arabs, he leaned into Islamophobic tropes, making crude remarks about terrorism, even walking a Jewish child into a mosque and attempting to sell shirts during prayer. Each encounter was filmed with a handheld camera, giving it a gritty, in-the-moment feel that just amplified the shock value. These stunts, part of the Lost Reality DVD, were never meant for mass consumption, but the internet had other plans. When Lost Reality hit shelves in 2004, it was a very niche release, but by 2006, fans had ripped the DVD and uploaded the amazing racist skits to YouTube, a platform that was only a year old at the time. The videos exploded, racking up millions of views. Teenagers shared them in chat rooms, college kids debated them in dorms, and online forums lit up with arguments. Was this comedy or cruelty, genius or garbage? The landscape was very different more than 2 decades ago. Ari Shaffir, once a scrappy comic, was now a viral sensation, one of the first of his time, and a lightning rod for controversy. While The Amazing Racist made Shaffir infamous, he was determined to prove he was more than just a shock jock. From 2006 to 2010, he doubled down on stand-up comedy, performing at venues like the Comedy Store and Caroline's on Broadway. His material? Dark, personal, and unfiltered, and it won over audiences and peers alike. He caught the attention of Joe Rogan, a comedian and UFC commentator with a growing platform at the time. In 2010, Shaffir appeared on the 3rd episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, a podcast that would become a cultural juggernaut. Their chemistry was instant, and Shaffir would go on to make 59 appearances, discussing everything from psychedelics to comedy ethics. That same year, he launched Skeptic Tank, his own podcast, where he interviewed comics, ex-cons, and even his own parents, revealing a thoughtful side beneath his provocateur facade. By 2011, Shaffir was a real road warrior, touring with heavyweights like Joey Diaz, Duncan Trussell, and Tom Segura. His live sets blended storytelling with taboo topics, religion, drugs, family life, all delivered with a mischievous grip. He performed at major festivals, including Just for Laughs in Montreal and the Edinburgh Fringe, earning respect for his craft. But The Amazing Racist videos still followed him. Fans would shout, "Do the racist thing" at shows, a reminder that his viral past was never far behind him. Shaffir leaned into it though, occasionally riffing on the characters in his act, but he was clearly aiming for something bigger. In 2013, Shaffir revived The Amazing Racist for a feature film called InAPPropriate Comedy, directed by Vince Offer, the ShamWow guy. The movie was a collection of crude skits, with Shaffir's segments reprising his racist persona alongside a cameraman. The film's low-budget aesthetic and handheld cameras echoed the original Lost Reality vibe, but its theatrical release brought new scrutiny. Critics panned it as lazy and offensive, and it bombed at the box office. Still, the Amazing Racist clips from the movie found a second life online, keeping Shaffir's controversial creation in the spotlight. Shaffir wasn't fazed by the film's failure. In 2013, he co-founded Punch Drunk Sports, a podcast with Jason Trabalt and Sam Tripoli, mixing sports talk with raunchy humor. The show built a loyal following, though Shaffir's appearances tapered off after he moved to the East Coast. In 2015, he scored a major win with This Is Not Happening, a Comedy Central show that he created and would go on to host. The series featured comedians sharing wild, true stories from near-death experiences to bizarre hookups. It was a hit, running for 2 seasons under Shaffir's helm, and showed that he could thrive in mainstream comedy without leaning on his racist alter ego. From the moment The Amazing Racist hit the internet, it was a cultural flashpoint. Fans hailed it as daring satire, arguing it exposed the absurdity of racism by taking it to extremes. Detractors called it reckless, saying it normalized slurs and hurt real people, staged or not. Shaffir received death threats, which he later claimed came at least once a week during the video's peak, as noted in a profile by Backyard Comedy Club. The 2013 film InAPPropriate Comedy reignited the debate, with reviewers slamming it as tasteless and unfunny. The backlash wasn't just about the stunts, it was about what comedy could and should be in a polarized world. Despite the controversy, Ari Shaffir never stopped creating. In 2022, he released Jew, a self-proclaimed stand-up special on YouTube, diving into his Jewish heritage with his trademark blend of humor and provocation. The hour-long set tackled stereotypes, history, and personal identity, earning praise from fans for its boldness, but mixed reviews from critics who found it uneven. Jew showed Shaffir's evolution, still edgy but more introspective, using comedy to explore rather than just shock. The special's free release on YouTube was a nod to his DIY roots, and it racked up thousands of views within days. So where's Ari Shaffir today? As of April 2025, he's a polarizing yet undeniable force in comedy, balancing stand-up, podcasting, and new projects. The Amazing Racist remains his most infamous chapter, a product of early internet shock culture that still divides audiences. On Reddit and X, fans call him one of the best comedians alive, praising his fearlessness, while critics brand him an edgy sociopath who courts controversy for clout. His career, spanning viral infamy, mainstream TV, and introspective specials, shows the tightrope walk of provocative comedy. Shaffir's story raises big questions. Where's the line between satire and harm? Can a comedian outrun their past? Let us know your take in the comments, and hit that like button if you want more deep dives.